The crisp October air sent a shiver down my spine as I stood at the entrance of the Earthworm Farm's Halloween corn maze. My heart pounded with excitement and trepidation. Every year, they transformed their cornfield into an intricate labyrinth of terror, and this Halloween night, I had decided to confront my fears and venture into the darkness. With each step into the maze, I felt the weight of the towering cornstalks press in on me, creating a sense of foreboding. The flickering lanterns barely illuminated the narrow pathways, casting eerie, shifting shadows that seemed to dance and whisper secrets of the night. My friends, Sarah, Mike, and Mark, were with me, but even their presence couldn't dispel the unease that hung in the air. We laughed and teased each other as we entered the maze, bravado masking our true feelings. Halloween night was supposed to be about thrills after all. As we ventured deeper, the laughter faded, replaced by an unsettling silence. The maze seemed to stretch on endlessly, with no clear path to follow. The walls of corn loomed higher and closer, like a vegetative prison closing in on us. I couldn't help but feel trapped, disoriented. "Are you sure we're going the right way?" I asked, my voice quivering. Mike checked the map we'd been given at the entrance. "Yeah, it looks like this should be the way out." "Just keep going," we continued, but something about the maze had changed. The lanterns now seemed to dim with each step, plunging us into deeper darkness. Panic gnawed at the edges of my mind, and I wondered if we were still on the designated path. Just when I thought I couldn't bear the suffocating tension any longer, we stumbled upon a clearing. In the center of the open space stood a scarecrow, its ragged form almost grotesque in the dim light. Its eyes seemed to follow me, and I shivered, feeling an unnatural presence in the air. As we moved past the scarecrow, I glanced back, and my heart nearly stopped. The scarecrow had turned to face us, its twisted smile now an unsettling grin of malevolence. I gasped, drawing my friend's attention. "Did you see that?" I stammered, pointing back at the scarecrow. They exchanged puzzled glances, but Mike dismissed it with a nervous chuckle. "You're just letting this place get to your head, buddy. It's all in good fun." Despite his reassurance, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The maze seemed to stretch endlessly ahead of us, and the lanterns had all but died, leaving us to navigate in near-complete darkness. A low, haunting melody reached my ears. The sound both beautiful and eerie. It seemed to draw us forward, pulling us deeper into the maze. We followed the melody, our steps guided by the siren song that seemed to resonate from the very heart of the labyrinth. As we approached a fork in the path, the melody grew louder, more enchanting. It was hypnotic, irresistible. We chose the left path, convinced it was leading us to the source of the haunting tune, but as we rounded a corner, we were met with a sight that chilled us to the bone. In the center of the path stood a ghostly figure, its spectral form hovering just above the ground. Its eyes were hollow, and its voice, when it spoke, sounded like a whisper from the grave. "Welcome, my children," it murmured, its words sending shivers down our spines. "You've come to play in my domain." The figure beckoned us forward, and though every instinct screamed at us to run, we couldn't resist its command. We moved closer, trapped in a nightmarish trance. As we drew near, the ghostly figure reached out its ethereal hand, its fingers icy and insubstantial. It touched Mike's forehead, and he screamed, collapsing to the ground. His eyes were vacant, his body limp, as if all life had been drained from him. Sarah and I tried to flee, but an invisible force held us in place. The ghostly figure approached us, its voice a haunting lullaby that threatened to steal our very souls. It touched Sarah next, and she crumpled to the ground beside Mike, her eyes devoid of emotion. I was the last one standing, my heart pounding with terror. The ghostly figure turned its hollow gaze toward me, and I knew there was no escape. As the ghostly figure reached out to touch me, I fought against the invisible force that held me in place. Desperation fueled my resistance, and with one last surge of willpower, I broke free, stumbling backward. The haunting melody continued to echo in my ears, but I refused to succumb. I shouted to my friends, desperately hoping they would snap out of their trance. Snap out of it. We need to get out of here. But their vacant stares and lifeless expressions remained unchanged, the ghostly figure's hollow eyes locked onto me, and it let out a chilling wail that seemed to pierce my very soul. It floated closer, its spectral form flickering in and out of existence, as if it struggled to maintain its presence in our world. I turned and ran, my heart pounding in my chest. The winding maze seemed to shift and warp around me, but I pushed forward, determined to escape this nightmare. The maze became a nightmarish labyrinth, twisting and turning, trying to keep me trapped within its grasp. Finally, I burst out of the maze, gasping for breath. I looked back, but the ghostly figure and the haunting melody had vanished. My friends were nowhere to be seen, lost to the evil curse that had ensnared them. I stumbled back to the earthworm farms, my mind reeling from the horrors I had witnessed. I alerted the authorities, but when they searched the maze, they found nothing out of the ordinary. It was as if the cursed apparition and its deadly melody had never existed. Months passed, and the memory of that fateful Halloween night haunted me. I couldn't shake the feeling that my friends were still trapped within the maze, their souls bound by the sinister force that had claimed them. The legend of the haunted corn maze persisted, but no one knew the true extent of the evil that lurked within its walls. I realized that the maze's legend of terror was no mere Halloween attraction, and I vowed never to return. It was a malevolent force that claimed those who dared to enter its twisted embrace. And I prayed that no one else would be lured into the harvest of fear that had claimed the souls of my friends and nearly devoured my own.